is Michael Edward, creator of How to Crush Your Mental Blocks in 4 Weeks, which is a course that teaches you how to identify and remove those mental blocks that's stopping you from reaching your level of success. Hey, let's talk today a little bit about how to recognize and change nonsensical rules. Okay. I had a client, I'm going to call him Sam, because I'm going to start calling all my male clients Sam, because confidentiality is a big part of what I do. And so obviously I'm not going to throw around real names. But this guy came to me, and he had already gone through a lot of life's changes. He'd beat an addiction and all kinds of stuff before he came to me. I was very proud of him. He was a great guy. And he came to me because he just wasn't reaching his level of success. And one of the big things on his plate at the time was to earn more money. He needed a better income than what he had. And we talked a bit, through the course of going through information that I teach and so on. And here's what came to light. He had two sets of grandparents. Sam had one set of grandparents who were quite well educated, reasonably well off, and he had a second set of grandparents who were the other end of the spectrum, more blue collar, didn't have a lot of money, and he was getting mixed messages from these grandparents. The wealthier grandparents said, you know what, Sam, you can be anything you want, anything you want. You know, you can earn lots of money, you can become highly educated, you can do anything you want. And the other grandparents, great people by the way, I don't want to really knock them here, but getting to the point, their message was, rich people are bad people. The boss at work drives this fancy car. He does not need such an expensive car. Why would you need such an expensive car? He's got a big house. Why would you need all that? And that kind of an attitude, all right? And he got these two rules built into him over years of listening to this, directly or indirectly, through actions and so forth, that really kind of messed up his head. That, he wanted to go out and make more money, and on one hand, that's a good thing, and on the other hand, it's like really bad. I'm not going to be a good person. I'm going to be, if I do want to buy a bit of a nicer car, then I'm just showing off. If I do want to get a nicer home, well, why would I want that? That just makes me a bad person because rich people are bad people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? So I think you get the idea of what Sam was dealing with. And now I'm going to break it down for you a little bit. Basically, there are two truths that we live by, all right? One is absolute truth, and the other is relative truth. In the absolute truth, these are things that are absolutely true for absolutely everybody and pretty much absolutely all the time. Right? That's why they're absolute truths. Like, water, food, we need those. We need shelter. We need clothing, at least most of the time. And we need, we have those primary needs. If we don't have those needs, we're not even going to be here, so this, we're done. So obviously those are absolute truths. Other absolute truths may be things like, treat other people well. How can you go wrong with that one? And then you have the other side, which is relative truths. Relative truths makes up almost everything that we do, how we act, how we say, how we dress. It falls under a huge umbrella as relative truths. Right? And in those relative truths, we have the nonsensical rules, or as I call them, non-rules, because they're absolutely nonsensical. They do not make sense anymore. They may have at one time, but they don't now. Or these rules are not serving us, right? And if something's not serving you, then you got to get rid of it. Because how can you reach a high level of success if you're getting beaten down, right? And these are made up of three basic areas I'm going to discuss. One is social. The second one is cultural, and the third one is, and often is, religion. Obviously not everybody follows religion, so not everybody subscribes to that, but nonetheless, those are sort of the three basic areas under the relative truths. All right? And now when you think back about my buddy Sam, he was getting mixed up in these relative truths, right? And the nonsensical rule that he had in him was that rich people are bad people. They're selfish, they're greedy, all these terrible things. And who knows, maybe his boss, his grandfather's boss was like that. I don't know. But obviously not all rich people have to be like that. So it's a nonsensical rule. Rich people are not all bad. They can be the most kindest, generous, loving people you've ever met in your life. They just happen to have a lot of money. What's wrong with that? Nothing. And then he had the more of the relative truth of that rich people, you can be anything that you want to be. Well, I think that's an absolute truth, frankly. I don't really believe that should be a relative truth. I think that is an absolute truth. I think that everybody who can draw a breath has the ability to choose to do, be, and have whatever it is that they want. That's why I'm here, is to teach you a higher level of success, how to reach that high level of success. All right? Now, in the relative truth, I talked about social. Social, let's break that down a little bit. Social is your family unit, it's your friends, it's all the people that you come in contact with. That's sort of your social group. Yes, I know there's broader, I could break it down further into more terms, but this suits our purposes just fine. Let's keep it easy. And the social truth is you're raised by your parents, so they teach you certain truths. Does everything that your parents, did they teach you everything correctly? In other words, did they give you bad information? No doubt. Because where do they get their information? From their parents and their social circles growing up. And are things different now than it was when their parents, Of course things are different now. And are our belief structures changed? Very, very likely. So the social stuff that you have grown up on, you've got to challenge them every now and then. Like Sam, he had to say, just because Grandpa said that rich people are bad, doesn't mean it's true. Right? And he had to challenge that inside of himself and say, you know what, Grandpa, I'm thinking you're wrong on this one. And I'm just not going to buy into that anymore. I'm going to buy into that some wealthy people are beautiful, loving people. And I certainly choose to be one of those. Right? So you need to challenge these rules to determine whether or not they suit you today. Do they suit who you are, what you're becoming, all that stuff. And you need to decide which ones to keep and which ones to discard. Now, cultural is number 2 under relative truths. The cultural beliefs, of course, is based on your culture. And in today's societies, where we have really is not as much a singular culture as what it once was, right? You look around you in many parts of the world now, it's not just you anymore. It's you and all kinds of other cultures. So your culture, along with other cultures from all over the world, right there in your neighborhood. Frankly, I think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. And so today, the cultural the cultural beliefs is a little bit more mixed up than it used to be. And the reason I think this is a good thing is because we can pick and choose what suits our needs, right? What serves us the best. And that, I think, is a very, very good thing. But now, let's just think for a minute of, there are still, if you do some researches on the internet, you can see that there are some really fantastic cultures out there that have never changed throughout the centuries. And think about this. If you took one of those guys off of some island somewhere and, you know, he's still sticking animal hair through his nose for decoration and so on and so forth, living a very, very simple lifestyle, and you brought him out to, you know, this computerized world that we're in today, he's going to start questioning his culture. He's going to start deciding whether or not his culture really serves him. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's up to the individual. But what I'm pointing out here is that your cultural beliefs can also be challenged. And in some cases should be challenged. Because your cultural beliefs can teach you how to treat people. And some cultures believe that one sex is more superior to the other sex. Which, of course, I don't believe that. And I don't think a lot of people do anymore. But point is that it's still there in some cultures. And that obviously is a culture that is a nonsensical rule or a non-rule that is not going to serve you. So you do very, very well to get rid of that one. You know, there's tons and tons of cultural beliefs. And again, what I'm pointing out here to you is not to dictate to you what culture you should follow, what rules you should follow, but again, to recognize the rule, recognize whether it serves you or not, and whether it's time to change it or not. Not just to blindly go on as you have for the last number of years of your life, but to look at things with intelligence. To look at things in the light of how does it serve me, right? And then you get into the religious beliefs. Now this is touchy. I know it's touchy, but I got to go here, so I'm going here. I'm sorry if it offends you, and I'm trying my best not to. But there are so many religious beliefs that at one point in time in history probably did have a need. There probably was a time in history where you shouldn't eat this food. You must wear these clothes. You must do these rituals. You know, whatever it is that your religion dictates. Again, you apply the same sort of technology to it. Does this serve me today? Does this help me in what I want to become? Or does it inhibit me? Does it dictate that if I don't do something that I'm a bad person? Well, or does it dictate that I have to do this in order to be a good person? Now again, in all religions, and I believe in all religions, I don't know all religions, but I'm going to believe in all religions there is good and there is probably not so good. I believe that the Bible itself has a great amount of wisdom in there. And I believe that when you boil it right down, you know, if I don't do something, does that make me a bad person? No, I don't think so. But you know, these are my beliefs. Do I believe in a specific religion? No, I do not. I believe in a higher power. I'm not going to break down my beliefs too much for you because, you know, frankly, it's my beliefs. And I'm not here to push my belief on anybody else. But I do believe in a higher power. Absolutely I do. And it's a part of my life. There's no question about it. But I don't allow people to dictate rules to me that go against me, what I believe, and what serves me, and ultimately what serves you, my clients. Right. And this is where the nonsensical rules come in, is you have to decide what is a nonsensical rule and what is a valid, good rule to follow. And I'll give you an example in my own life, just recently, right? If you look at some of my old videos, you may or may not notice yet, but I started a new weightlifting program. I was injured. I had to go back basically to square one again. And I came across this really incredibly short, intense workout, literally 15 minutes twice a week, actually 7.5 minutes, but, you know, we'll say 15 to get set up and everything. 15 minutes twice a week for the first month, and then after that, I train only those 15 minutes once a week. And I've only gotten in, what am I, week 4, I think now? And halfway through week 4, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 workouts under my belt, and my muscles are coming in. And my belief always was, that I had to train for hours in the gym. And I did. I used to train, 3, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, lifting weights, and that was my belief. And in fact, I even used to have a fitness site where I taught this. I had different programs, obviously, for different people at different levels and different amount of times that they wanted to put in. But my basic truth was that you need to spend an hour or two, 4 or 5 days a week in order to build muscle, get stronger, and be healthier. Well, I'm not going to give this program that I'm following right now a full thumbs up yet, but I got to say, it challenged my beliefs. It challenged my rules to say, wow, maybe that other way that I used to train, which was mentally exhausting, physically exhausting, and so much time spent in the gym, maybe it is a nonsensical rule. Maybe I don't have to train that often and that hard for that long to get the kind of results that I want. And basically my results, I'm not going to be a bodybuilder. I never really intended to be a bodybuilder. I just wanted to get filled in a bit, be stronger, be healthier, just basic good shape rather than okay condition, right? And that's what I'm doing. So I had to challenge all of these beliefs that I had in fitness. I taught them. I wrote books on them. I wrote blogs on them. And yet now I have to backtrack and rethink this whole thing and say, you know what? Maybe that was a nonsensical rule. Maybe that basic outline to get bigger, stronger is a nonsensical rule, non-rule, and now I don't have to train that hard. And I'm getting these results. Now, if you're into fitness and so forth, I am training extremely hard, but for a very, very short time. So the pain is almost excruciating and all the rest of that stuff, but it sure beats spending 2 to 4 hours a day in the gym. All right, and if you're not working hard, then you're hardly working, and you're not going to get results, nor should you expect to. But nonetheless, I'm getting pretty good results from this, and I'm pretty proud of it. So one of the days I'll do a session on this stuff, but again, I want to test it further. I want to see when I get down to the one session a week, whether it still maintains and improves or not. Anyway, so that is where you're at as far as how to recognize and change nonsensical rules. All right? And you need to keep an open mind. You need to be aware that just because you've done something all your life does not mean that it's necessarily the best way to do things. All right? And you need to be open, and you need to be willing to change those rules, the non-rules that do not serve you, are not taking you to where you want to go. Because it's these rules are holding you back from reaching your level of success. That's a nonsensical rule. That's pretty obvious, right? But you have to recognize it, and you have to be open to it in order to change it. All right? I am Michael Edward. I'm so thrilled you're here with me. Please check me out on YouTube and join up there. Leave some comments all over the place. I'll do my best to get back to you. And join the Michael Edward Enjoy, Love, Succeed page. Follow that. And above all else, you really want to get on that email list of mine. And there'll be a link on the YouTube page that you're watching right now, probably, to link you to my website or link you directly to getting on my email list. It's the email list is the best way to keep in touch with me, and I can tell you what I'm up to. That's going to be the core, all right? So everybody still has an email address. You want to sign up, and trust me, I'm not going to be sending you a bunch of junk, just stuff to help you reach your level of success. I am Michael Edward. Go out there every day and enjoy, love as much as you can, and succeed.